So the 2021 Game Awards are behind us, so let's take a look back at the announcements that were made during the show and go over the biggest winners and losers of the night. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more gaming reviews and discussions. With that said, let's get into it. As you can probably tell, I am a bit sick and losing my voice, so we will have to only go over the highlights of the show very quickly. Overall, I was not a big fan of how the show was designed and handled. It's basically 3.5 hours of advertisements with some awards sprinkled in so they can call it an award show. It was so bad, Jeff Keighley rapid-fired listed off award winners without handing out the awards most of the time. And when the developers were actually physically handed the awards, they were quickly rushed off the stage before they could finish giving their speeches. It's such a shame because as someone who grew up loving games and views them as art, I want to see this medium that I love so much be legitimized. But a show like this does more harm to the perception of games in general, and I do hope a rival show that focuses on the games over advertisements takes over as the most watched game award show. And when it comes to the trailers, we saw generally next to no gameplay, which makes it rather difficult to comment on if anything looks good or not. But because my voice is starting to go, let's go over some of the best announcements very quickly. And actually, about 5 minutes into this video, my voice really went. So unfortunately, I really had to cut it down. I did want to elaborate on a lot more things, but just unfortunately wasn't able to. Maybe in the future I'll do another video, but I do have 3 reviews I'm working on right now, so I do want to just get those done before the end of the year. Anyways, back to the regular video. Star Wars Eclipse was announced, the long-rumored game by Quantic Dreams. I have only played Detroit Become Human by them, and while I thought they had some very talented developers on the team, especially when it comes to environmental design and animations, I found the writing to be quite poor, which is a shame because it asks some very interesting questions. But when it comes to a new Star Wars game, while I think it's a great setting, the ability of the writing staff does worry me a bit. What I don't get is why they don't just ask Timothy Zahn to write the story, which I guess would just make too much sense. Moving along, we had a surprise announcement of a new Wonder Woman game. While we saw absolutely no gameplay, I am quite intrigued because Monolith is the studio behind it. Given their past games, I think it's a great fit and could turn out to be a really good game. Apparently it will be open world and hopefully we'll see some actual gameplay in the next trailer. Steel Rising caught my eye as well because it's being developed by Spiders, the makers of Greedfall. They are an independent studio I think we'll see great things from in the future as they've continued to grow and improve with every release. Greedfall had really great writing, but was a bit lacking in the gameplay department, so hopefully in Steel Rising we can see some improvements. It's an alternate history game set during a steampunk version of the French Revolution. I personally love the art style, and apparently they just had signups for a playtest that I missed out on unfortunately. It's coming out in June 2022, and I will absolutely be reviewing it. We got a new Star Trek game announced, Star Trek Resurgence, which is being developed by a new studio made up of former Telltale game developers. I actually just finished watching Star Trek Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine, so while I would love to see a new Star Trek game, I am not very confident in this studio. And I do know the team was horribly mismanaged by the former Telltale executives, so hopefully the team can put together higher quality work now that they are not being rushed so badly. I do really wish they were working on their own original IP instead of a beloved franchise like Star Trek, but we'll have to see what they come up with. Hopefully there is a new writing staff though. Viewers of the channel might be excited for the new Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 game that was announced. This is because it is being developed by Saber Interactive, the studio behind World War Z. What we saw of Space Marine 2 looked great, and I think Saber should be able to do an excellent job with this one. I actually owned the first game I got in a humble bundle, but never got around to playing it, so now I'll have to go through it before the second game comes out, and I'm pretty excited to see what they come out with. While there were a ton more announcements, those were just the highlights for me, and we'd be here for 10 hours if I went through all of them, and I would probably just rant on forever about them. But when it comes to the awards, I feel like the nominations were all over the place, and games that deserve to be mentioned were not. It's a shame, but the people behind the nominations seem to be very disconnected from reality, and some voting outlets are not really even gaming publications. Anyways, Halo Infinite won Player's Choice. I've only played the first hour, but I've really enjoyed the game a lot so far. I think it won because it is currently the hottest game out right now, but it seems like it's getting very positive reviews, so it's great Halo fans have another great fun game to play. While Forza Horizon 5 should have been nominated for Game of the Year, at least it did win 3 awards which were very well deserved. It's great to see the team recognized for their work with accessibility, ensuring as many people as possible are able to enjoy Horizon 5. Likewise, the audio team did incredible work, and the Best Audio Design award was well deserved. It also won Best Racing Game, which, while it did deserve it, it's a shame to see Riders Republic not win anything because of this. While it wasn't Game of the Year, it was a fun game that got overlooked, and I believe that was the only award it was nominated for. When it comes to the majority of other awards, I disagree with the winners and most of the nominees, but a few did seem like they got it right. Tales of Arise winning Best RPG was very well deserved. It was a really fun game, and I'm really glad it won over Cyberpunk. Deathloop winning Best Art and Game Direction was bizarre, and much like the perfect review scores it didn't deserve, it seems like the press is obsessed with Arcane Studio, so it just won because of that. By all accounts, it seems like the game launched in an unacceptably buggy state, so I find it very hard to justify giving the game any awards. When it comes to Game of the Year, I don't think any of the nominated games deserved it, but if any of them had to win it, I think I'm the most okay with It Takes Two. At the very least, the developer is extremely passionate about the games he makes, and the studio has been able to improve with each release. It's also nice to see a couch co-op game get recognized, as we do not get enough of them anymore. Overall, I found the show to be too long, and I was struggling to stay awake by the end. It needs to be retooled to focus on the developers and the awards, and not have commercials and advertisements be the sole focus. I know they need to pay for the event, but I'm sure they made their costs back, and then a considerable extra for Jeff Keighley's pockets. There's ways to monetize and structure the show that can give a greater emphasis on the awards and developers, but I don't really think Jeff has any interest in that. He's a corporate mouthpiece through and through, and he'll do whatever will make him the most money, and he does not seem to care much about the art form that he claims to love so much. Again, in general, this was kind of an off year in gaming, but next year looks stacked as we have a ton of high-profile releases to look forward to. I'm sure this award show will be just as bad next year, however, I hope a better award show takes its place in the future, because I don't know if I can sit through another one of these next year. But do let me know down in the comments your personal highlights of the show, and if you're looking forward to any of the newly announced games. And I have 3 final reviews I'm working on to end the year, and then I'll be doing my own personal top 5 best games of the year video. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play everything, so the list will be just what I personally played, but I was able to play most major releases, and I am looking forward to making that video. Thanks so much for watching, I'll see you all in the next video.